Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Welcome to Porch Ponderings. Yes, at least once a week I'm going to try to do a pondering, so this following video, although covering many topics this time, usually I do one topic. The title today was given to us by Rusty. Yes, my friends, reality takes more than one opinion, and I'm sharing mine today. I want to say, first of all, folks, it is -1. Feels like -4, going only to 1 or 2 degrees today. That's a good regular winter day. I'm happy with that. And a big old plane going overhead almost sounds like an earthquake. But we have sometimes some pretty big planes going by here. Friends, today I want to cover a few topics I really want to cover. At the end of all this, we are going to talk about freedom. And why are some people fighting the fight for freedom? To some of us, it doesn't make sense. Maybe it will at the end of this, because the most important thing about uniting Canada is realizing that the person to your left or the person to your right is not going to think the way you do, and you have to be okay with that, no matter what their opinion is. It's just an opinion. Let the baby have their cookie. Now, I want to go to a little montage to strike the mood to talk about this Canadian convoy. We're going to talk about it briefly, and then you'll see on the chapters below, and then we're going to go into the opinion on freedom. But first, I want to show you a little bit of music, get you into the mood, and then talk about an update as to what's happening with our convoy. Folks, here's the music.
Living here today, as the flag still stands for freedom, and they won't take that away. And I'm proud to be in Canada, where at least I can be free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave the right to me, and the gladly stand up next to you and defend us still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt.
I do hope you like that. I do hope you like that. I certainly like that song. I like the feeling it promotes. These are people who feel like finally, maybe, someone will listen. What has happened? Well, so far, friends, remember, below, anytime I talk about this, below will be canada-unity.com so that you can talk to people. And see the website and sign the Memorandum of Understanding, which is their protest document that's going to be presented to Parliament. Sign it if you're Canadian and support us. But also below will be their GoFundMe. And that's the piece I wanted to talk about yesterday. Reports all over, Shame, CTV, Global, all saying, GoFundMe has blocked their money. No. In a release by the lead trucker, lady who is doing all the organization, she says she is talking. Her last name's Lich, L-I-C-H. She is talking to GoFundMe on a daily basis, making sure that the money is funneled directly into fuel, lodging, and sustenance for these truckers. The money is going to where it needs to be, but the misinformation campaign by CTV and Global is kind of questionable. Why are they trying to say that GoFundMe has blocked it? Are they misinterpreting a report by GoFundMe that they were going to make sure it goes to the right people? Or are they trying to discourage investment in this protest? Friends, at this point, Only a few days ago, I told y'all 1.7 million had been raised. They are now at $5.2 million with 67,000 contributions. This shows that this is important to Canada. So, you'll notice that while I was speaking, I put up a few visuals too, because I think it's important that we do this, but not in a spirit of anger. Unity is not an angry thing. Do it in a spirit of freedom. And now, we morph into the final chapter of this Porch Pondering. While I kick something below. Why? Why do people have trouble with freedom? Why all of a sudden people are using air quotes? You want your freedom. You want to be able to do things. God-given rights. No. Freedom is something that we had long before any government was in power. And any government that ever tried to take away the freedom found themselves gone. Because people, it isn't something that we want. It's something that is the basis of our life. But we have at least 1 or 2 generations below me. I grew up with, let's back up. My generation grew up with the Vietnam War, with remnants and stories vast, lots of stories about World War II and the troubles of it. We learned it in depth in school. We understood the fight for freedom, and we were very close to people who had either lost people or we ourselves had lost people to those wars. Freedom meant more. For a couple of generations, thank God, for a couple of generations, our kids, the only thing that they grew up with was a bombing, 9/11, a horrible event. But they were very young when that happened, the latest one, and they don't see, at least until recently, the value of freedom. It's just something that if you have it all the time, you take it for granted. And I think it's time for all of us older people to take moments with our youngsters, with our children, with our grandchildren, with our great-grandchildren. Yes, I have one of those. Take the time. Get to know them. Get to know their understanding of freedom. And explain to them yours. An important point to remember here, I was talking with Pasha on the way home from school yesterday, is perception is reality to the person perceiving it. Fear is real to the person who feels it, regardless of whether that fear is justified or not. So we have an entire generation that has very little understanding of freedom, but we also have a young generation that has been conditioned for 2.5 years because of this pandemic into being afraid. And I think it's really gotten to the point that so many people who are afraid, and sometimes I feel that fear, and I'm not afraid. So the people who are afraid, they feel it strongly, strong enough that they see a headline. They don't go digging in to see if that headline's true or clickbait. They look at that headline, it scares them, and the headline remains in their brain, and they swipe that away. but they don't swipe away what's in their brain, what has stuck there, that little seed. And those seeds get planted all day long everywhere you go, every time you see a mask, every time you see a sign saying vaccine mandate, you know? It's over and over and over, and it is getting to our society. And it, regardless if you believe that there's a need to vaccinate our truckers, we have to get back, my opinion, to where people make a choice as to their health. There is 0 people who have proved to me that an unvaccinated person is of any greater or lesser danger to me than a vaccinated person. Both can carry the disease, both can get sick, both can transmit the disease. My protection against it is the vaccine that I chose to take. And that just makes me maybe a little less sick. So as the science morphs, as our knowledge morphs, so does our understanding, so should our fear. And we need to embrace our children. And I really want to say this to the younger adults out there. It is our job as adults to take on the fear and move the fear away from our kids. That's our job. Our job is not to mask our kids in fear of our own health. Our job is to let our kids be free and take the risk upon ourselves for the betterment of society. I've said it, I meant it, and I'll see you again on the other side. My friends, a music montage at the end. This is the one that went up in YouTube and got me 2.7 thousand views. So it shows that people care. People want this. Viva freedom. Viva life. My friends, Pura Vida. Peace. Cheers. Love and harmony.